I do. It's all cold. Yeah, that's right. It's all right. Baruch Hashem Yahuah. Mm-hmm. You made all the water. I made none of it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Not to me. I'm just glad to be here. All right. So another week talking about keep me from presumptuous sins. And like I said, we're going to talk this week about being meek and humble and lowly, and going to get into some of those characteristics as we go through. So we often read the words meek, humble, lowly in the Bible. But do we really know what that means? I mean, really do we know what it means? These attributes are often grouped as humility, meekness, gentleness, lowly, and contrite spirit, right? Today, let's explore how the Father views these attributes as we strive to understand what's expected of every kingdom citizen, all right? And I want to start off by something of our perfect example, right? Matthews 11:29 through 30. Mashiach says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. First thing, he wants to learn something from him. He said, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your soul, for my yoke is easy and my burdens is light. And he says of himself that he was meek and lowly in heart. So we need to find out what that means, because standard-wise in Christianity, there's a definition, but we want to see what the scripture says, what a meek person looks like and what lowly in heart really looks like. All right. So before we go into the Hebrew and the Greek, because you know that's what we do here, let's look at the English. Let's look at it from the English, right? So in your own summarization, before you go to Google and look at the various dictionaries online, because you're going to do that, what is meekness? And what do you think when you hear the term meekness? So it's an open question. Anybody can answer it. Maybe 2 in the room and 2 off the room. Let's see. Anybody? What do you think when you think the word meekness? What is it that you think of? What does it come to mind when you think meekness? Humble? Namana?
A gentle person.
A gentle person? What does that mean?
A gentle person is a person that is like a quiet person, a very quiet person that just kind of keeps to themselves, that is without wrath, that is without anger, that's peaceful.
Okay. Kanisha?
Just a servant.
Servant. Okay. Meekness is servant. Okay. Ima? Oh, you need a microphone. Let's try to, I think we got another one back here. Got 2. Yeah. We got mic. Hey, Shemaya needs a mic.
I say pleasant.
Pleasant. Okay. Meekness means pleasant. Okay. All right.
A selfless person.
A selfless person. Okay, that's good. We're gonna look at it, because I think we need to start looking at the characteristics, and we're gonna start with Mashiach, and then we're gonna build from there. Some things that the Father has shown. It's just in the Word. It's right there in front of us. A lot of times we just don't think of it that way. We have a lot of pre-programmed information that we're trying to sift through, and every time somebody brings information for it, what I'm trying to do is get rid of bad information, you know. So let's look what the Webster Merriam Dictionary says, defines meekness or meek as enduring injury with patience without resentment. Synonym for meekness is mild. It's like putting up with other people's junk taking it and holding it against them, or not holding it against them, being like a doormat. That's what the dictionary kind of surmises says. That's what meekness is. We're gonna find meekness ain't nothing like that. Meekness is nothing like that. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about some things. All right. It also says deficient in spirit and courage. So a person who is meek is a coward, according to the dictionary. Right? Right? You know, oh my goodness, I'm scared. Or I got some chatter back here. All right? We're good. Okay. All right. So meekness is submissive. So they're equating this spirit of a deficiency of spirit and courage as submissiveness, but that's not submissive at all, right? We're going to find that out. That's why we got to go to the scriptures for the definitions. We can't really go. You say our culture sees meekness as deficient in spirit and courage or submissiveness, and they see submissiveness as something weak, without power, no strength. It's just a passive thing. So now, what about humility? What do you think humility is? We said meekness. What about humility? You got a mic. You got to go for it.
Selflessness.
Okay. You say selflessness. Okay. We'll put up there. Anybody else? No wrong answers. Just trying to figure out where how we're thinking. What do you think? Because I don't know how many of us actually did a study on humility and meekness and gentleness. Mind telling you no? Okay. Mashiach?
To be able to.
Shalom. I would say willingness to afflict yourself in order to be better.
Oh, okay. Okay. Humility. Okay, what else? Who else? Yahuah. Yahuah.
Modest.
Modest. Okay.
I would say meekness is like the personality, and humility is like the action. Like a person who's meek is going to be humble, show humble in their actions.
So what's humble? Because they made, they say humble was the meekness too. That was one of the first definitions for it. What is humble?
So I'm going to say lacks ego.
Lacks ego. I like that. A lacking of an ego.
Somebody on YouTube said teachable.
Teachable. That was meek is teachable. Meek is teachable. Okay. Well, let's see. Okay, let's look at the dictionary, because we're gonna go to the dictionary. Believe me, we're gonna get to the Hebrew, and we're gonna be in the Hebrew for a while. Not couple of them a day, and then we're gonna cover a couple of next week, because there's like about 9 or 10 Hebrew words for humility and meekness. Naamana.
Slikamori, I was going to say without aggression.
Okay. So the dictionary says freedom from pride and arrogance. It also says a quality of being humble. That's what this, it's very generic. Found another, it's 2-1 dictionary. I just gave the first one because the second one was like really inapplicable. Not proud or haughty, not arrogant or assertive. So it's opposite of what we was talking about last week. We're going to get more into that. Reflecting, expressing, or offered in a spirit of deference or submission. So they're saying being meek is submissive and being humble is submissive. I don't know. Let's see. And then also ranking in low hierarchy or scale, insignificant, unpretentious, not costly or luxurious. Humble. So there's a lot of variation in the possibilities of how it's used in the English language. Some can be applied, some cannot. All right, so that's why it's always good to go back to the definition book, which is the scripture itself, right? All right. Yeah, they all kind of read the same, so I just picked one. All right. In the Hebrew, there are several words that I'm supposed to change it. encompasses the idea of meekness and humility, right? And as I was going through, I was like, I did not realize how many words there was just for meek and humble and lowly. You think it's just one, maybe two words. In the Greek, it's like two words. And then you have your congregations. But in the Hebrew, that root just builds and then it shifts and we'll be linked. I guess we'll get into all that as we go into our Hebrew studies because it's going to help us parse it out a little better. At least it's going to help me parse it out a lot better. All right. So the first word, someone want to try that one out? Remember that W looking thing is really a V, the Vav, right? Anva, Anva, Anva. Can y'all see the vowels? Okay. Yeah, you got your vowels. Anva. And it's not a foretaste, so you don't have to worry about doubling nothing. Hey, everything is Hebrew class. Anything's gonna help me remember. I say a feminine noun identifying gentleness, meekness, humility. It refers to the quality of meekness, humility, mildness, and the patient appropriated for the king over the Elohim's people, along with the truth and righteousness. Kind of generic, but we'll see, because you got to get into the context and the characters who they're talking about and how it applies to those individuals. All right. All right, so let's look at an instance where that word is used. In Psalms 45:45, so in your majesty, ride out victoriously for the cause of truth and anva, meekness and righteousness, and let your right hand teach you awesome deeds. And then it goes on to say, your arrows are sharp in the hearts of the king's enemies. The people fall under you. So if somebody's meek and you're talking about arrows killing people, how did that go? So notice here in the context clues, it shows meekness does not mean non-confrontational. So that's one clue. We got a whole bunch of them now, really. We're going to just scratch the surface today, but as we go through, we're going to find out what meekness is, right? As we go through, we're going to try to peel back this onion. So let's see, he talks about these right hand teaching you awesome deeds. Let's see how, because it connects it in this way. The same word, right, is connected to, in Psalm 65:5-7, by awesome deeds you answer us with righteousness. What is the word for answer there, you think? Other than more Lamadyahu. Say it again. Well, you close. All right. The root is ana. When do we say ana? When do you hear that all the time? We hear it every year. Thank you. Thank you. Ana. And it means what? Right off, anybody, just because we say it every year. That's what I'm saying. This is something that we see every year. Not you, more Lamadyahu. Toda.
To afflict yourself.
To afflict, okay, it is. But you see here, it's been used as answer. By awesome deeds, you answer us in righteousness, O Elohim, our salvation, the hope of all the ends of the earth and the farthest seas, the one who by his strength establishes the mountains and girdeth it with might, who stills the roaring seas and the roaring of the waves and the tumults of the peoples. So answer, right? So in this one, which in one sense it means answer, but it also means to humble and afflict. And we have Daniel 10:12 for an example of that. And like I say, we read this quite often. Then he said unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day you set your heart to understand and afflict yourself or humble yourself before your Elohim, your words have been heard, and I have come because of your words. You can also see Numbers 29:7 and also Isaiah 58:3. We read these scriptures every Yom Kippur, right? So that's why I say I don't know. I'm not going to go over it too much, but I wanted to point that out because you see how it connects back to the original word for humbling oneself. All right. So he says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek. Now we're going into the Greek. So, paros, gentle, meek, humble. And in the equivalent reference or the equivalent form of the LXX, you'll see the various forms. All right. Keep that in mind. Just keep those in mind because you're going to see them again. Also, it's not being overly impressed by the sense of one's self-importance. So your meekness, you're not impressed by your own self. Right? This is what he's saying. I'm meek. Follow my example. I'm meek. I'm not impressed. He's not impressed with his own self. Humble. He's gentle, considerate, meek. You got something more?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but also, just as you're sharing here, the same word, or they're using the word there, but also means submit self.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it lets us know that this meekness, this humbleness, deal with sometimes that we have to submit ourselves to understand something, you know, versus the opposite of all the ones that you were sharing.
Okay. So let's keep going. Let's press on. Let's press on. Now we're going to hit lowly. What do you think when you hit lowly? Say, I am meek and lowly. You know, yeah, y'all remember that? No, okay. No. You at the bottom. Everybody saying bottom, lowly. What do you think lowly is? No? Okay, we just keep going. We keep going. We keep going. It makes the lesson go by fast. Okay. Okay, lowly. Taprinos. So we going to see this word a lot in the Greek because it's the only two words you really have in the Greek, humble and lowly. Whereas in Hebrew, you see all them conjugations. Yeah, they got more than that. All right. It's a state of, I'll say, being of a low social status or relatively unable to cope, lowly, undistinguishable, of no account. This is the way society viewed him. He comes as lowly in the earth, right? We're going to see some more about that. He has another definition. So being servile in manner. Did he come to be served or did he come to serve? Okay, and then it also says to be unpretentious or humble. So it goes back to that word of not being overly impressed with himself, right? And the reason I'm saying it that way because it's going to come back to us. It's going to come back to us. All right. So in Matthew 21, 1-5, I want to read this here. And he says, now when they drew near to Jerusalem and came to Bethphage, to the Mount of Olives, Yahuah sent two of his Talmudim disciples, saying to them, go into the village in front of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Unite them and bring them to me. If anyone send to you anything to you, you shall say Yahuah needs them, and he will send them at once. This took place to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet, saying, the daughters of Zion shall behold your king is coming to you humble, paras, right? And mounted on a donkey, on a coat, a foal of a beast of burden. And that comes out of Zechariah 9:9. So you see, we can trace it back and see what it says in Zechariah 9:9 for that same word, right? And it says what? Anai, right? For humble. Anai. So let's see what Hanai means. Say, without property. He's going to come without property, poor, wretched, needy, having little money or possessing little. And I thought about that and I say, a lot of times you used to hear preachers say, I've heard him say, that you know he was rich, right? You heard that. Oh yeah, he had a lot of money. Yo, he was rich. They came and brought gifts and he had all this stuff. And they tried to make it seem like he was a very prosperous man. But no, he came to connect with the lowest base of people. right? The poor in the land, and he had to be able to touch and move with it. Now, he had influence, of course, but he came not having or possessing anything. This is a 9. This is one of those words for the humble, right? And this humble, marked by meekness and modesty, not arrogance or pride. Right? And also it refers to affliction, grievously afflicted. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because as we're learning about Mashiach, and as he says, he's meek and he's lowly, it makes you remember that he says, for you know the favor of Yahuah Mashiach, that though he was rich, right? For your sake, he became poor, so that through his poverty might become rich, right? Through his poverty. Why would he say that? I'm trying to connect these things, right? The Most High had a vested interest in the poor of the earth. He has a vested interest in the poor of the earth, those that are poor in spirit and those that are financially poor as well. He said that's why he came as a poor man, right? That's why there are so many warnings about oppressing the poor in the scriptures. Because that's why he was coming. You see, I'm coming, this way I'm see. There's so many laws in the Torah about taking care of the poor, right? So he's not saying you have to be poor, but he knows the snare of riches, right? And you see all that, right? In Proverbs 14:31, whosoever oppresses a poor man has insulted his maker. And who is generous to the needy honors him. Okay. Proverbs 19:17, whoever is generous to the poor lends to Yahuah, and he will repay him for his deeds. Proverbs 28:27, whoever gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse. Proverbs 11:24-5. One gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffer want. Whoever brings blessings will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered. So he has a very invested in the poor and us taking care of our brothers and sisters. And like last week I said, he didn't just tell us give away money. Just give your brother money, just give people money, give your sisters money. No, that ain't what he told us to do. I want to clear it up because I want to make it clear as to how it works. All right. Deuteronomy 15:7-11. If among you one of your brothers should become poor in any of your towns within your land that Yahuah your Elohim is giving you, you shall not harden your heart or shut your hand against your poor brother, but you shall open your hand to him and lend. Did he say give? Oh, you lending something to him. Okay. Lend him sufficient for his needs, whatever it may be. Take care, at least, there be an unworthy thought in your heart, and to say, the 7th year, the year of release is near, and your eye look grudgingly on the poor brother, and you give him nothing, and he cry to Yahuah against you, and you be guilty of sin. Why is that important? Why do you think that is important? Right? What is this? What is that year of release? Every 7 years, and you're getting close to it. You know the brother needs something, and he's trying to get back on his feet or trying to get things going, and you're like, man, because as soon as you give it to him, then what? Huh? You gotta let it go. You just it was a gift. It's a gift. He owns it now. He got you don't look back for it. Yeah, I know she needed a mic. Yeah, I know you can yell.
He told him to always give. Don't let your brother leave empty-handed.
All right. We're gonna see something else. We're gonna keep going because I wanted to clear that up. I want to make sure that I was clear. I didn't want to leave that out there. Leave it out there. All right. Deuteronomy 17, 7-11. You shall give to him freely, and your heart shall not be grudging when you give to him, because for this Yahuah your Elohim will bless you in all your work and all that you undertake, for there will never cease to be poor in your land. So there's going to always be poor in the land. Therefore, I command you, you shall open wide your hand to your brother, to the needy, and to the poor in your land. All right. Leviticus 25, 35, 37. If your brother becomes poor and cannot maintain himself with you, you shall support him as though he were a stranger and a sojourner. What do we do with strangers and sojourners? I mean, you know, what are you supposed to do with strangers and sojourners in your land? Right? You give them some employment, right? He shall live with you or near you, right? That's going to get clear. Take no interest from him or profit, but fear Yahuah Elohim, that your brother may live beside you. You shall not lend him money at interest. So whatever you lend him, it's that, you know, hey, he can give you costs. He'll give it back to you when you get it back. Well, not so much. It might take him a minute. Or give him food for profit. You don't sell him a plate of food. All right. I am Yahuah Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim to give you the land of Canaan to be your Elohim. All right. Canaan. All right. All right. So Matthew 8, 19-20. And a scribe came up and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Now, this is Yahushua. He's saying, said to him, foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. He's homeless. He's not asking you to be homeless, but if you find yourself in a position where you are homeless, he already made provisions for that. That's why he says, don't take note of what you wear, what you're going to put on, what you're going to eat. You know, you're not losing anything. We're going to get into that later on. But in Isaiah 52, 53-3, he says this of himself, or is this being said of the Mashiach to come, right? As they would think, some would say. For he grew up before him like a tender plant, like a root out of dry ground. He had no form of majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And as one whom men hide their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not. So that means he wasn't like very popular, right? You look at him, you wouldn't think nothing. He was just an ordinary guy. You look at him and think, what's so special about this guy? All right. He came that way on purpose. All right. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, that yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, and he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and he was wounded, and by his wounds we were healed. Now, if this hasn't happened yet, we're in trouble. For those that don't believe, if you believe this is Israel, we're really in trouble, because you see us now. But like I say, if this has not happened yet, then we got a long time before the Mashiach returns as a triumph. All right. All right. Philippians 2, 5-8. Having this mind amongst yourselves, which is yours in Mashiach Yahushua, who through he was in the form of Elohim. And that's what I want to come to, because we're talking about him being meek and lowly. He had bragging rights. Right? He had bragging rights, right? Did not count himself equal with Elohim, a thing to be grasped, right? So this thing to be grasped, harpegamos, right? Something to be grasped, spoil, or rightful property taken by force or violence, especially property which one believes to have a rightful claim to. Just like us right now, right? We say, we Israel. Ain't that right, King? Ain't that right, Queen? We Israel. A right to be grasped at. You know who we are? We are the most highest people. Huh? But he didn't do that. And he had every right to brag. Well, we do it though. I'm going somewhere with this now. Trust me, I'm going somewhere. He emptied himself by taking on the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men. He emptied himself. He said he was rich. He was the creator of the earth and all that's in it. He emptied himself, became like a man. Being found in human form, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even to the death of the tree. State. But we grasp. As soon as we find out that we're Israel, everybody else is under our feet. We're better than everybody else. And then he said, but learn of me. I'm meek. His meekness was like, hey, I don't have to brag. I know who I am. I know what my mission is. We're going to see. Let's keep walking. Let's walk it out. Let's keep walking. All right. Mashiach's meekness and humility showed that even though all things were created by him, he did not flaunt himself. He was good. He was the creator. He came to serve others and not to be served, right? Colossians 1:15-20 says, he is the image of the invisible Elohim. Bragging rights, the firstborn of all creation. There at the beginning, first thing brought forth. For by him all things were created, in heaven and in earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. And he was down here amongst us like a regular guy. That's not meek. Right? You can have your gift, whatever that gift is. Your gift of administrations, your gift of prophecy, your gift of singing, your gift of helps. You can be a shalak, a moray, but if somebody don't call you by that title and you get bent out of shape, you ain't like Mashiach. Yeah, that's Moray Yasharun. Yeah, you can't call me Aki no more. You know, I earned this. You know what I'm saying? I'm a prophet. I'm a prophetess. I'm pastor so-and-so. I'm a doctor. Yeah, you're right. PhD, I'm a doctor so-and-so. You know, yeah. So we get high and mighty when we get a little something, right? What Mashiach says, man, I'm the creator of the whole world. And you can call me Yahusha. Yes, out of respect and because of knowing who he is and because of the position he held and the authority he held, they called him master. They called him rabbi. They called him teacher, but he wouldn't get bent out of shape if you say Yahusha. But if you get bent out of shape because they don't put your title or your position on your name or recognize your gift, you might want to check yourself, right? Because how he's going to trust you with things if you ain't mature enough to handle just being. We're going to see, let's keep going. All right. It goes on. He said, And he is before all things, and him all things hold together. And he is the head of the body, the assembly. He is the beginning, the firstborn of the dead. In everything he might be a preeminence, for in him all the fullness of Elohim was pleased to dwell. All the fullness of Elohim was pleased to dwell. And through him all to reconcile to him all things, through whether in heaven or earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of his stake. Bragging rights. Here we go. We got two brothers. They want position. Mama came up there and said, the mother of son of Zebedee came up to him with her sons and kneeling before him and asking him for something. And he said to her, what do you want? Nonchalant, what you want? She said to him, say to these two sons of mine are to sit, one at your right hand and one at your left in your kingdom. Yahushua answered and said, you don't know what you're asking. He said, are you able? He asked him, are you able to drink the cup that I'm to drink? And they said, we don't know what the cup is. But all I know is you got the power. I seen you've been working. Man, you done calmed the seas. You done walked on water. Man, you done healed the sick and raised the dead. I want to be like, whatever you got, I want. You know, whatever, give me the cup. And he said to them, you will drink my cup. But to sit at my right hand and at my left hand is not mine to grant, but it is for those to whom it has been prepared by my Father. Huh? Seat's already assigned. It got place cards or RSVP. Huh? Place cards. Find your place, find your name, have a seat. But I can't give you that. But this is how we think. We want position. We want prominence. We want, all right? We want to be recognized and known. We want to be promoted, right? That's not what Yahushua was doing, right? And then he, okay, here's another one, Matthew 20, 21 to 28. And when the 10 heard it, they were indignant at the two brothers. Now, can you imagine? Everybody else standing around. He got 12 of them. And you got the nerve to go ask the master, can I sit at your right hand and your first come, first serve? Huh? You got to be bold. But Yahushua called them and said to them, you know, the rulers of the Gentile lord it over them. Huh? And their great ones executed authority. Well, she thought she had some position, you know, she was relative, you know, excessive authority over them, right? It shall not be so among you, but whosoever be great among you must be your servant. And whoever holds the first among you must be your slave. You want to be up here? You want to be in front? You want to have title? You want to have position? It comes as a servant. It comes with a price tag. I tell my wife, I say, look, I got work to do. I'm a servant. I say, you got to labor. It's a labor in the word. Yeah, it is labor, reading and studying and praying and counseling. You got a whole lot of things that you're doing. It's not just prestige. It's not sitting in the chief seats. You know, sometimes I got to be the usher. Huh? Sometimes I got to go keep the door. I'm a servant in the house. And that's the way we're supposed to think, like Yahushua. So he says, even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. I am meek and low, right? I got all authority. I'm going to get to it. We're going to keep on. All right. Philippians 2:1-5. So if there is any encouragement in Mashiach, any comfort from love, any participation in the Ruach, any affection or sympathy, complete my joy by being of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and on of one mind. That's the way the assembly is supposed to function. I don't care where the assembly is. Every group of people that come together, they got to be on one accord, one mind, one love, one faith, right? He said, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit. What is conceit? Well, you know, everybody conceited. You heard that before. High-minded. You think so much of yourself. You think you're all that ego. It's all about you. When they walk in the room, you're supposed to stand up when I walk in the room. Huh? You saw me. You know who I am. Why are you sitting in my seat? You know whose seat that is. Huh? All right. But in humility, we are to count others more significant than ourselves. I look at you above me. I look at you above me. That's the way we're supposed to respond to one another. I'm never too busy. I'm never too, I never don't not have time for you. You know, I got, you know, I'm your servant. What you need? How can I help? I do the best I can. If I can't help you, I'll find somebody that can help you. All right. Let each of you look not on his own interests, just me, mine, but also on the interests of others. Having this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Mashiach Yahushua. All right, let's keep going. I'm done. Look at that. Wow. All right. Closing remarks. Mashiach had all the power, the spirit without measure, all knowledge, wisdom and knowledge, but he was literally and figuratively down to earth. We say, oh, Lamadyahu is so humble. Why is that? Because he's approachable, right? His brother has knowledge about things. He is capable, but he ain't walking around here talking about, did you talk to my secretary? You know, get with so-and-so and he'll make an appointment for you to see me. He's not doing that. He'll answer your email. He'll answer your phone calls. You know what I'm saying? He'll talk with you. He'll sit down and have a conversation. That's the way Mashiach was. Remember the woman at the well? He just walked up, had a seat. She come walking up. He said, "Could you give me something to drink?" He said, "What are you, a Jew, talking to me?" That's not how that don't usually happen. He said, "Well, if you knew who I was, you know, if you knew who was that asking you for a drink, you probably asked me for a drink." He was real nonchalant. Sometimes we make it sound like it was so dun 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 dun. You know, but Mashiach was down to earth. He wants us to be real people. He was mixing with his people. That's why he lived outside. That's why he just went from house to house and lived off the kindness of others to see if they're going to keep his commandments. That was what it was about. He was the poor among them. Come on, he got a seat for you because they benefit from it because when he walked in, they blessed. He blessed the house when he walked in. He wants us, when we walk into people's home, we should be blessed. It should be a blessing when we walk in their home. They might not have we might not have a whole lot of tangible things, but one day we want to be able to say, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have. But you got to have a maturity level to even wield that kind of power, right? He never promoted himself. I know in this day and age, we got YouTube, right? So I wonder, you know, sometimes we're thinking, I need to build my YouTube channel. Ain't nothing wrong with it because it's a business. It's your business, right? So you got to put your videos out there 3-4 times a week to get your viewership up, the clicks and likes and so forth. They got a lot of people doing it, you know what I'm saying? Trying to earn revenue. So we end up peddling the word. We end up peddling the word. I understand that you're just trying to get content out there for your viewership. You know, we don't do that here. We just kind of put the word out there. It's for the benefit of you. We're not trying to build nothing. We're just trying to get the word out. Right? We're not trying to make Lamadyahu make a name for himself. He's a very popular person. As we say, Lamadyahu, some of them love him, some of them hate him. Got a lot of people that hate him. He got a lot of enemies. A lot of enemies. Oh yeah. I know it sounds strange, huh? But yeah, he got a lot of people that don't like him. And they're waiting for him to fall. They always looking for him to fall. Believe that. I know. All right. But Mashiach says he never promoted himself. His example of humility and meekness shows us it is not about being weak or a pushover or allowing people to walk all over us. He never did that. He restrained himself when he was up before the council in Jerusalem. He restrained himself before Pilate. He said, my kingdom was this world. I get called down allegiance. Hey, man, you don't know who I am. He just answered, well, whatever you say. Yeah, you said it. You know, you're going to find out one day. But he never promoted himself. He never pussed himself up. He wasn't no pushover. He would tell them Pharisees, you know, to get right, and he'd be trying to kill him. And he'd walk right through them. So where'd he go? He disappeared in the crowd. He said, it ain't my time to die yet. You know what I'm saying? Because they was angry enough to kill him. And if we walk in the way we're supposed to walk, sometimes people might be angry enough to kill us too. And not the outside. We're talking about amongst our brethren. When you start correcting things, they don't like when you get corrected, because the Most High talks to me. I'm the prophet. Are you trying to tell the prophet of the Most High? You know what I'm saying? And you say, well, brother, that's not what the scripture says. Well, I'm just telling you what the Spirit told me. Okay, Spirit. You know what I'm saying? All right. He shows us how we ought to carry the gifts that he's bestowed upon us. Whatever that gift is. You ain't got to brag about it, just do it. You ain't got to boast yourself up. I'm the best this and I'm the best that. Just do it. Next week, we're going to talk about the contrast between this humble spirit and this pride and the way the Most High sees it, the characteristics of it. How to operate in authority without getting a big head. That's where I'm heading. Like I said, if I give you power, you know how be people, I want power. What you want power to do? So I can get me a big TV ministry. I want power so I can draw millions of people for what? For money. I want authority, right? Understand that we are just vessels made of earth with an expiration date, right? So we got to work while it's day and to do it the way he did it. All right. So with that, be continued. Any questions? No, it's quick, man. Yeah. Don't worry.
Amore,
Oh, that
I
was
just
good.
want to say that whenever the Most High bestows any of us with gifts or what have you, we are here for his esteem. We are his ambassadors. So no one can boast or brag of anything.
Mm-hmm. That's what they say. It sounds real good. You know how we know I was going to talk about that false humility. We're going to get to it, right?
Mhm.
How I can walk around and be all like, but behind closed doors, I'm
Come on.
a hellion. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hellion. I can't believe they're asking me to do that. They know who I am. I can't be doing that. I need you to go tell them. This is what, you start doing workarounds because you don't want to blow your cover. Yeah, blow your cover. You see this now, all this big exposed. So-and-so has been exposed. Everybody trying to expose somebody. But you ain't got to be exposed if you're just real all the time. If just you walking humbly with the Most High, you ain't going to worry about being exposed. Because you just you. You just doing your job. You're doing your part. Whatever, I don't care how small that part is. You do your part. You good at it. Everybody know you're good at it. When you're missing, you're missing. You're like, oh man, I missed so-and-so. I wish they would hit it because nobody can do it like they can. All right. So with that, there's no questions. No other comments? I surrender my stand. Yahuah, you have the floor.
Shalom, shalom, Mr. Cup.
Shalom.
All hearts bowed. Baruch Hashem Yahuah Eloheinu Malach Haolam. Torah Rebab Yahuah for this opportunity to be able to gather and to meet and to be with the Mishpachah, to be able to hear the word that you have given us for this hour. Ab Yahuah, we just ask and pray, Father, that you would touch the hearts and minds of those, the hearers and the doers of your word. Ab Yahuah, we give you praise for your strength that you give us, that helps us, Father, to walk the walk out during the week, Ab Yahuah, to put those things into practice that we hear on today. Father, we ask that you would give us memory recall of what we've heard. We give you praise for the opportunity to even be able to go back and re-listen to the lesson again and again, Ab Yahuah. We praise you for that. And we don't take that for granted, Ab Yahuah. We ask, Ab Yahuah, that you would, as we have prayed in the beginning, Ab Yahuah, to forgive us for our sins, transgressions, and iniquities. We give you praise, honor, and esteem for the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. Because without it, Ab Yahuah, we wouldn't be able to be before you now, Father, because surely we would be destroyed already. We thank you and we give you praise for your mercy, your kindness, and your goodness. We ask, Ab Yahuah, that you give those traveling mercy that are traveling away from the Knesset, that you would keep them, Father, give your Melachim's charge over them as they go. And Ab Yahuah, as we seek to gather again, Ab Yahuah, and in the time and place in which you would have us to do it, Ab Yahuah, we give you praise for that. And we thank you for your protection. In Yahushua HaMashiach's name, Hallel to Yahuah. Amen.
Well, I want you to put something on your mind. What do y'all think about David? Was he a meek man? Humble man? Yeah, he was meek. Was Moses meek? Was Moses meek? Yeah, okay, Moses said, let's put on, we're gonna talk about some meek people and the things they did.